Reinvention of a Christmas classic, raising money for a really important cause from kind of a local, a little bit further north, although he's been living in Los Angeles for over a decade now, normally making music you'd hear in TV shows. Bryce Jacobs, hello there.
Hey, Lindsay.
So reinventing Silent Night. Not a small ask. Why did you want to do
Yeah.
that?
Well, every year, Bel Air Church, it's a massive church. It's on the top of the hills. Every year they have this massive Christmas concert. And so last year I did Holy Night. I did a reinvention of that. And a month after I had throat surgery, I had to get up, and that was quite intimidating. That's a whole different story. But with Silent Night, it was coming up like, what am I going to do this year? And I think someone actually asked me, just my mother-in-law, and I just said, I don't know. And then whatever happened, my mind went back to modern history at Kirrawee High School.
Kirrawee High School,
And
yes.
I remember learning about Christmas Eve of 1914, and the German soldiers and the British soldiers were getting very close to each other on the battlefield, and they each could hear each other talking because these trenches were so close. And on Christmas Eve, one side started singing Silent Night, and the other side heard and joined in with the same melody, but different languages. And it actually led way to a truce. They shared Christmas together. They played soccer. I mean, these are guys in their late teens, early 20s, and it would have been a very poignant moment. So I thought about that initially. I thought, same melody, different languages, and how music it's a cliche, but it is that universal thing. It snaps people snap them out of a world war for a moment. So, modern times with Ukraine, I mean, that's really spoken to me. I've seen guys on the news, like Ukrainians my age, getting drafted, and with, children the same age as my daughters, saying goodbye, not knowing if they're going to see each other again. And so that's really spoken to me. So I thought, well, what about if it's English and Ukrainian? And then I had this idea of it cascading over each other. And that kind of came from preschool. Do you remember when you're at preschool and they did a round of row your boat?
Yeah.
So that's where that came, all that education from there. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if they're cascading? And the other thing I liked about Ukrainian as a language is that it's pretty much a dialect of Russian, as far as my understanding goes. And even with that, there's a piece within that. You think about it, most Russians don't want this either.
Yeah.
So from that point, I had my ideas, and then I thought I want the majority of it to be a kind of positive rolling momentum. I don't want happy, sad, or dark, brooding. I didn't want to go too light to just kind of skirt around the issue. So I just wanted this positive momentum. At the start, I thought, well, actually, back to the positive momentum, still with those lyrics like Sleep in Heavenly Peace and Christ is Born, they're usually the more warm moments of the song. And that's why I really sing them out. Like, it's like we're right at the other end of that right now. The intro, I wanted to have the harrowing voices, and that's why I took that little bit of All Is Calm and, those 2 or 3 notes, and gave it to the higher voices of a choir, and just layering over each other. And it's very haunting when they do that. And it still comes from the song. It's not just something I randomly put there. And then you've got this drum build that is literally Morse code for SOS.
Right.
And then goes into the song. So, and the final bit of the song is like my own kind of personal wishes and prayer to these people, and wishing them a silent night, a peaceful night, because these people, that's the last thing they would have, I imagine, is just moments of being able to exhale, So it's that's where it all came from. That's the tangent I went on, and that's what you hear in the piece.
all done there, I'm guessing, with your multitude of instruments and things behind you
Yeah,
there, Bryce.
I run around the room doing stuff, and I sit here and I go, "That's awesome. That's terrible. That's awesome. That's terrible." And that's basically my day.
And for such a great cause for UNICEF, how do you approach UNICEF? Because it's up on the website. How do you approach them about this sort of idea?
Well, it was as simple as I was talking to someone about it, and it's one thing just to create awareness, but I wanted to do this at Christmas time because everyone's so busy with the holiday season, they forget about what's going on there. But it would be great if it got funneled. So I just emailed them, and they got back to me a couple of days later, and they're like, "Oh, we love this," and gave their official stamp of here's your link, here's your tags, go for it. So that made it so much more meaningful.
Speaking to Bryce Jacobs, who you may have seen or heard on Triple J, he dropped in with a giant many-stringed guitar. Sutherland Shire Kid, as you heard. Since then, you've been pretty busy recreating Jim Steinman Gold on the TV show Daybreak. When in a dystopic future when people just start bands, which is a pretty great idea. Do you watch those shows really as a musician, watching these people playing, I guess, miming the music that you've made with a critical eye? What is it like seeing these people playing your music?
It's just, it's one of my favorite moments where you're looking on screen and it's like, this is such a fresh moment to me. I don't know if I'll ever see it again. I definitely haven't seen it before. I heard my voice singing on Christopher Robin when I was playing guitar and composing for it. And sitting back watching that, I just thought this is something else, itself. But with Daybreak, it had to be, the sound of the band had to be pretty raucous, like the instruments that are left over. And it was a cross between American Ninja and American Idol, as it was explained to me on, this subplot of them getting on stage, and they would sing a song, and if they won, they won. If they lost, a trapdoor had opened, and they'd have to go down and beat the ghoulies up. And even if they won there, they were still killed. So
there's a Mad Max element as well.
Well, yeah, that's right. So they threw songs at me like Today, Safety Dance, Making Love Out of Nothing at All. And there's another one that escaped me. But, having to get a cohesion between those was interesting. But it was the raucous kind of almost garage band feel. But that song, Making Love Out of Nothing at All, which was the most gratuitous with all the, Bill and Ted full on kind of solo.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a wah solo somewhere there. Yeah.
Yeah, someone just recently, I had a few people go, "Oh, can you put it up?" I'm like, "All right," and people are so into it.
Yes, they really are. They are.
Yeah,
that verse. Not just the clip from the show as well. Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is it? You also you've worked for Hans Zimmer's company. There is another amazing moment as well. Of This Is You, Bryce. Oh. What studio is this? This isn't the studio you're in now.
Abbey Road, I think.
Abbey Road.
I forget the name often.
What was this? Is pretty beautiful. This moment as well.
Well, yeah, it was actually, that was about my grandmother, that piece, as she was spiraling into dementia. And I didn't even realize, but we were recording it exactly 2 years. I was on the conductor stand when I realized this. I'm like, it's 2 years to the day that she passed away. And my mum was there. So, I'm conducting it's like, keep your shit together, in front of these people. But they, they've all got hearts too. They've all got mothers and grandmothers. So it was extremely special to, I've got the best musicians in the world making my stuff sound better. And the last time I told one of them, it was Australian, the last time I conducted to, an orchestra, there was like 6 people in a garage in Peakhurst 10 years before.
It's, probably slightly better acoustics in Abbey Road.
Just a bit. That garage, man.
Well, look, it's lovely to chat to you all the way over in Los Angeles for a American Christmas. Like, what, your 12th of American Christmas, I suppose, 11th or 12th?
I've been here 14 years.
Wow.
So does that come up to 14?
Wow.
I'm not a matheologist.
That's all right. You don't need to be. All right, if people want to go and check out your new reimagining of Silent Night and the beautiful Ukrainian, the Korean, the German. Where can people go to see it and hear it and help out you at UNICEF's Ukraine Appeal?
Well, it's on YouTube. I mean, if you put Silent Night for Ukraine, I'm kind of the only one that comes up. Silent Night, my name, it'll come up. It's on YouTube. Obviously, there's a film clip that's all based on the color scheme of the blue and the yellow, like the sky and the field of the Ukraine flag. And then on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever good music's sold, all that kind of stuff.
Excellent. Oh, Bryce Jacobs, good to talk to you. Is there anyone back in Wollongong? I know you got family down. You had family down here. Anyone here you want to shout out to? They might be listening in the Sutherland Shire as well.
Oh, I have to shout out to Kira and Sarah Christian.
All right.
They're down there, and they're a couple of the people I've missed the most. So absolutely have to.
You know who's going to
shout them out?
Shout out to them. Someone's going to feel a little bit weird. You didn't mention them. Anthony Snape as well wanted to say.
Oh, Anthony Snape! I keep on forgetting that he's down there.
Yeah, he certainly is.
Yeah. Oh, he's one of the best human beings I've ever known. He's just such a sweet, selfless person. And that's why I forgot him.
Good recovery. Beautiful. Bryce Jacobs, good to talk to you, mate. Have a great Christmas in America. We'll talk to you.